Josiah Scott, Mighty Mouse Part 2, an old 1990s Eagle reference to Mark Dillon for my older football fans out there. Let's talk about Josiah Scott and his chances of making this Philadelphia Eagles football team. What's up, Cerebral football fans? My name is Steven Hyder. This is Gate City Sports Channel. Hey, thank you all so much for tuning in. If you guys are new to the channel, we just crossed over 5,000 subscribers. We're heading towards 10,000. I'd love for you to be a part of the equation. Just need you to subscribe to do that. To my OG subscribers, I ask you guys to just keep hitting the like button, keep smashing that thumbs up button, help me spike the algorithm and get this in front of new people to potentially convert into our little community. Today's topic, I want to talk about Josiah Scott. He's a very interesting player to me, right? ESPN's All Freshman Team at Michigan State was a second team, all Big Ten. This was a young man who was very productive coming out of college. When he was drafted in the 4th round by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I will note that a lot of experts believe that his better fit in the league is playing inside at nickel, which is where I have him listed. But I want to be very, very clear about what the underlying analytics say about the player. And believe it or not, guys, when he broke his way into games last season, it wasn't inside as a nickel. It was actually playing outside. And I think that's where the difficulty begins in terms of this evaluation. Because to begin with, I think he has the movement skills of either a short zone outside corner. You got to know the difference between playing short zone versus deep zone, guys. So, like, kind of the difference between playing like a traditional cover 2 versus quarters coverage, if you will. He's got the movement skills, guys, to either be a nickel or what I would call a short zone corner. In addition to that, guys, we have to just talk about the elephant in the room here. He's 5'9". He's about 5'9". He might be shorter than that, to be honest, but I'll just go with what's listed there. He's about 5'9", 180, 185 poundish, guys. It's pretty much where he comes in at. But what's more concerning to me, from the scouting world, and Josiah Scott, is the fact that this is a young man that wants to play outside. This is a young man that has had success playing outside. But you guys have heard me say this more than once. To play outside, generally speaking, NFL scouts are looking for a 30-inch arm reach. Anything under that does not necessarily translate very easily to the NFL game. Now, I want to preface this because I do think that it's easy to make statements like that, those blanket statements, and then not speak to terms of who are guys that are shorter, who have played on the outside, who have had success, and how might we learn from something like that? Well, to begin with, I would probably talk about guys like Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden, crazy, he's like 5'10"-ish, crazy arm reach, guys, 32, almost 33-inch arm length. He almost has the arm reach of James Bradbury, guys. I mean, he's kind of a freak, if you will, a little bit. Josiah Alexander with the Green Bay Packers, another guy that's over 30 inches in the arm reach. Very successful short cornerback that plays outside in the league. But once again, guys, we're talking about dudes over 30 inches in terms of the arm reach. Mackenzie Alexander played with the Minnesota Vikings, is another guy that I would say fits a little better to the arguments of guys like Josiah Scott and some of the other players we've talked about so far in this discussion. He's a guy that plays primarily nickel, but they will use him just like Avonte Maddox on the outside. The difference is why he's only like 5'9"-ish. He does have like over 31-inch arm reach. So he's got longer arm reach compared to like Avonte Maddox and the Josiah Scotts, if you will. Steven Nelson, another guy, 5'10"-ish, had over 30.5-inch arm reach. We're very familiar with Steven Nelson, played here in Philadelphia. You look at a guy like Champ Bailey. Champ Bailey's under 6 foot, but I don't think it's fair because Champ Bailey and Darrell Green in particular, those two guys were speed merchants, guys. You don't find, there are legends about Darrell Green running 40 times. There are people who still believe to this day that is the fastest player to ever step on a football field. I've heard rumors that he ran a 4.28. I want to say, was it Alabama's pro day he was at? He ran a 4.28, guys, in high grass. Not even ideal circumstances. And some people say that he's actually run in the 4.15s. So, Champ Bailey, Darrell Green historically were shorter cornerbacks that had very long careers on the outside. You got guys like Troy Hill. You got guys like, Darius Williams that play for the Los Angeles Rams, right? Those guys have played inside, they've played outside. They're shorter cornerbacks. But to be fair, most of these guys, minus Troy Hill, who normally plays as a nickel, those guys all have over 30-inch arm reach. As a matter of fact, the only guys that I can think of that I've watched recently that have played a lot on the outside with under 30-inch arm reach, and this is what I can think of. It doesn't mean that I'm 100% correct in this. It's just what comes to my mind here. Troy Hill, he's definitely had some years where he was primarily outside, for the Rams, although I would say he's primarily a nickel in reality. And then you got guys like, you probably go back to Darrell Green. I don't have evidence of this, but Darrell Green might have been 5'8", guys. I mean, I've heard people say he was 5'7", to be quite honest. He played during the same time frame as Mark McMillan, who's also a little guy that we don't know the exact arm reach, but I would be willing to bet that Darrell Green, Mark McMillan, guys like Avonte Maddox, these guys, Josiah Scott, I would think all those dudes were under 30-inch arm reach. So Darrell Green's, Mark McMillan's, there's caveats here, right? I mean, the other side to this story is, guys, is to be quite honest, you didn't run a lot of 11 personnel in the 80s and 90s, to be straightforward, right? So there wasn't a lot of nickel corners per se. Like, if you were a cornerback, you're probably going to primarily play on the outside. Would have been very, very few times that teams would have spread you out to where you would need a nickel corner, if you will. So a lot to unpack there, guys. It has to do with league precedent and the changes in league rules and the advancement in offensive formations, all that kind of stuff. But with that said, Josiah Scott, coming back to why I think he's destined to play inside, even though he logged the majority of his snaps outside. When I look at Josiah Scott, the dead giveaway to me is when I look at his underlying analytics on his pro day and combine performances, okay? He put up a really, really solid 4.42 40 time. So if you're looking at the total of 40, you might say, like, hey, Steve, dude's actually got some foot speed to be quite real. Be honest about this. But I always tell you guys, don't get fooled by full 40 times. You got to know the splits. The splits tell you everything. And if you look at his initial 10 split, he ran a 1.54-10 split. It's not horrible. It's pretty decent foot speed. But let's be real. A lot of the other guys that we talked about were hovering around that 1.52 mark, right? 1.53 mark. The Darius Slays, when we talked about, various people that we've broken down. The Zach McPhersons, right? The Tay Gowans, all those dudes. They're faster. They have initial 40 times are faster. But then when you look at that 20 time, like the 20 split time, a 2.55-20, still better than guys like Steven Nelson's. I think he had like a 2.63. With that said, I would say that those movement skills with the height combined with the arm reach, everything about this from a scouting perspective would tell me that this is somebody that could potentially play short zone. If you wanted him to play in a short zone system on the outside on a handful of snaps, he could get the job done for you more than likely. But on a day in, day out basis, if something happened and you had to play him, he's probably better suited to play inside as a nickel cornerback inside this league. Now I want to get down to what I think might be his best opportunity to make the football team. Most of these dudes only played in a couple of games. We can make the argument that Josiah Scott, behind Zach McPherson, was the next most utilized guy out of this entire group. And we've talked about, a tremendous amount of people, and we're going to continue talking about guys. We're going to talk about Jimmy Moreland this upcoming week, too. With that said, Josiah Scott's, I think, calling card here is how often and how frequently he was inside of games on special teams. If you're going to stick around as a fifth, sixth corner on this football team, you've got to be able to play special teams. And I think that's where Josiah Scott actually has a fighting chance at sticking to the roster. The problem is, this is a good competition. You can't guarantee anybody's going to make it. Jimmy Moreland's a good player, guys. He's not going to be easy to knock off the roster. They're not financially committed to Jimmy Moreland, really, but nonetheless, this will not be you can't just easily point to any of the deep roster guys and say 100% they're on the roster. It'll have to be earned. This is going to be intriguing to watch in camp. All right, guys, I appreciate y'all's time and attention. Leave your comments down below. What do you think? What do you guys think about Josiah Scott, man? I mean, yeah, he's a short guy. The Mark McMillan type, right? The Darrell Green type. He's a shorter guy. He's under 30-inch in the arm reach. Runs a decent time. He's not unathletic. I'm not trying to imply that, but he's not like a super athletic corner either. A guy that I thought showed some ability in college to play short zone. I thought he was sneaky good ball skills. I think that if you're a quarterback and he tries to bait you, he was pretty good at doing that in college. Now, college isn't the league. We know that, guys. It's not the pros. So we'll have to see. All right, guys, leave your comments down below. I appreciate y'all. And if you've missed any of the other content, guys, just look to your left and look to your right. There's some videos you guys can watch on other players I broke down. I'll see y'all in the next video.